T.J. Jefferson was wondering where the Cowboys stand in your pecking order. They stand where?
Where's the
Where
love?
not?
I mean, I would have them in the top 5 with the Niners and the Eagles. I actually think all 3 of those teams are pretty equal, honestly. And I think they're equal because I talked about this earlier. I don't think the Cowboys are a good matchup for the Eagles this next time around. We talk a lot about the Eagles running game and obviously the quarterback and what he does for them and how great that offensive line is.
Right.
The Cowboys arguably have the second best rushing attack in the NFL.
I'm a big Pollard guy. Huge.
Oh my God. But when Zeke was out and Pollard had that big game, you also saw the other backup running backs just going off. The offensive line, the way the scheme has evolved a little bit, Kellen Moore and how he has approached the run, it's really, really hard to stop.
Especially since Tyron Smith's injury was supposed to be the end of it, and it wasn't.
I thought the offensive line was going to be such an issue for the Cowboys at the beginning of the season, and it has not been an issue at all.
And one would think Micah Parsons, who says, call me a lion, if he is the lion, with Matt Ryan standing back there, it could be a National Geographic documentary.
Oh, my God, I forgot. Yeah. Oh, God, that Colts offensive line against the Cowboys pass rush.
So bad.
And Matt, God bless, watching him try to escape. That's what. How the hell did the Raiders let him run for 40 yards? What the hell was that about?
He had a 20-yard run
I don't
on
even
Monday.
want to talk about it. Well, it needed to be 21 before he dove, right?
That's one of the tape. I forgot who the Raiders linebacker was watching that. I'm like, you can't be in a meeting room that week watching Matt Ryan
go. I mean, it's like 20 yards is enough, but then it's just he keeps running. It's like, is somebody going to tackle this guy? He looked like the yodeler on Price is Right, just slowly going up and just keep on yodeling.
I think you would beat him, Rich. You probably.
But yeah, that's this. Yeah, thank you very much, man. Great, appreciate that. It sounds like it's just a brutal matchup. For on Sunday
and the
night.
Cowboys. The Cowboys defense. Like we talk a lot about Micah Parsons, but they're probably one of my favorite units to watch every week because Dan Quinn varies up the game plan. What they do in terms of disguise on the back end, their simulated pressures on the front end, the games that they run, it's really creative. Which, by the way, I didn't think Dan Quinn was going to make this kind of evolution at this point in his career. It's so fun to watch. I feel like the only thing holding people back from believing in the Cowboys is that they're the Cowboys.
Well, I mean...
No, but like when you really get into the nuts and the bolts of the team and you start looking at the matchups, they're so good. And they match up so well with so many of the other teams in the NFC.
Well, the reason why you offended TJ is he still, when you think of the Cowboys, he still thinks of the 90s and the rest of the United States.
I had a lot of good years back then.
I know, but that's why, again, the way that the season ended last year is still something
the draw.
That just screams at you. But we haven't seen a lot of those moments this year at all.
Dak needed that last year. Just like Jordan had to get beat up by the Pistons to take the next
Oh,
level.
really?
He needed that time clock management.
Wow.
Did the Niners not shake their hands at the end? Is that what it was?
Well, I just hope that he uses that to elevate him to the next level. It's something I got to believe in, man, just to help me get through this.
Do you believe in Dak, Mina? Because was it LaShawn McCoy or whoever was going after him on Twitter
McCoy.
saying he wasn't the guy?
Yeah, no, I do. I think he's playing really good football right now. Every now and then he kind of forces it a little bit, which he shouldn't. Like this offense, again, is so... everything, the pieces around him are so good, and we'll see if they sign OBJ, but... He doesn't need to force some of those throws. Now, I will say a lot of the interceptions this year have not been his fault, actually. It's been the receivers in certain cases. But he's playing at a really high level right now, and I do believe in him.
The practice window for James Washington just opened up, too.
Yep.
So there are some reinforcements, potentially even Odell, too. Look, and the whole thing, the reason why by the way, Shady is a flamethrower, huh? In his media business. Yeah, I know he's a hot taker. Yeah. The whole idea was just like when Dak comes back, Cooper Rush just showed you the offense doesn't need to have a 400-yard passing game, doesn't need to, and he hasn't delivered it, and he hasn't forced it either.
Yeah.
But he also can run. I mean,
that's huge.
Yeah, I have no concerns about that.
That was
Dak
a huge
Prescott.
issue for him last year. If you're a Cowboys fan, you might have had the same frustration watching him that I did, which was it felt like when he came back from the injury, he wouldn't take off at times when he had those opportunities. They weren't using him in the boot game as much, in the option game, because he can run. You're right, and I feel like that's something that the Cowboys could tap into even more.
Yeah, Colts. So that would be huge because we're assuming that this is a win for the Cowboys. And the Eagles have to, as Mike Vrabel famously said on this program, take your heart pills and buckle up. That's going to be just a Donnybrook, man. The A.J. Brown Bowl coming up between the Eagles and Tennessee.
Oh, that's right.
So if this is a Tennessee victory, that means the Cowboys get that one game closer that they need before that Christmas rematch that you're saying is a worse matchup for Philadelphia this time around.
Oh, it's such a good game.
It is.
My God.
Week 13 is quite scrumptious. And it starts on Thursday night with the Bills going out at Buffalo versus Belichick. Can't wait. Thanks for coming on here, Mina Kimes.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Absolutely. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.